Hi guys, my name is Diego. I am a second year studying journalism, political science with a minor in theater. I am from Bayamón, Puerto Rico. My pronouns are he, him, his. And right now I am standing in front of the Chicago Bean in the downtown loop area of Chicago. And welcome to the city. So I am now standing in Millennium Park, home to the famous and iconic Chicago Bean. But there are plenty of things to do down here in the park besides just watching the Bean. You can actually go down to the Maggie Daly Park, where you can actually go and do ice skating or figure skating. In the winter, they'll actually set up an entire ice rink. You can go down with your friends, have some fun doing some ice skating over there. It's also home to the pavilion, which is where they actually do like a bunch of symphonies and a bunch of orchestras and shows. There are plenty of things to do here at Millennium Park, from like little festivals and attractions that are actually set up. Local artists will actually come exhibit their work and display tons of food. And it's overall just a really, really fun location to be at if you want to just, go out with your friends, have a little picnic, walk inside the Bean, and just have a good time here in the park. But this is the first stop in our Chicago tour, and so let's just keep going. So I'm standing right in front of the Art Institute of Chicago, which is one of two museums located in downtown, which actually is heavily discounted for students with the showing of your Northwestern student ID. So the Art Institute in Chicago and the Museum of Contemporary Art are one of two museums in downtown that obviously specialize on the fine arts. And if you want to go in for a heavily discounted price, all you have to do is physically show up to the museum, show your Northwestern student ID, and you'll get heavily discounted tickets and access to the museum. Now, obviously, this museum is not the only way to engage with the arts in downtown Chicago. You can do things like go see a show at the Chicago Symphony Orchestra or the Lyric Opera. There are also Broadway and Chicago shows, which are also heavily discounted with the showing of your Northwestern ID. If you want to catch a viewing of Hamilton or Six the Musical or any other Broadway musical that you may see in New York, you can come down to Chicago and get a show and access to a show for basically the exact same price and viewing experience. But more than that, the city of Chicago and Northwestern actually takes advantage of the city of Chicago in multiple ways. A lot of classes will actually have you coming down into museums to do art projects. For example, my friend last year, his name is Raza, he took an art history class in his fall quarter of his freshman year, and his final project was to actually come down to the Art Institute, find a series of paintings and do a profile on the artists that painted them and the cultural context surrounding the paintings that he had actually commissioned and painted that were up in display in the art museum. Just one of many ways in which professors actually take advantage of our proximity to Chicago and make the classes a bit more fun and exciting by having you interact with the city of Chicago in the arts or whatever way that may be. So right now I am in Northwestern's downtown graduate campus, which hosts our Feinberg School of Medicine, Pritzker School of Law, and Kellogg School of Business or Management. And this is kind of like the sort of main destination that the inter-campus bus will actually come and drop you off. So it's a good segue to talk about transportation and how students actually get from our campus in Evanston to the city of Chicago. There are three main ways. The best and most affordable is the free inter-campus shuttle, which is a shuttle that connects our undergraduate campus in Evanston, Illinois, to our graduate campus right here in downtown Chicago. It's a completely free bus. It runs Monday through Friday from like 9 a.m. in the morning to like 10 o'clock at night. It's a really, really great, reliable way to go down into the city of Chicago for in less than 35 minutes, all completely free of charge. Beyond that, we also have the CTA, the L, or the elevated train system in Chicago. Think of the underground subway system that New York City has. We have a version of that in Chicago. Again, it's called the L. And for about $2.50 and about a 45-ish minute train run, you can actually get from our station in Evanston, Illinois, in Davis, to basically anywhere in all of downtown Chicago. And then beyond that, we also have the Metro, which is sort of a double-decker commuter rail train that again will take you from Evanston more toward the central sort of eastern or west part of the city of Chicago. That's about $5. It takes about 20-25 minutes to get down. So you'll get down to the city of Chicago a little bit faster, but obviously in terms of convenience and location, it may not be the most reliable. But again, with the free inter-campus bus and the $2.50 elevated train system, there are plenty of ways to get into the city of Chicago and to start exploring once you're already down here. So we are now in Wrigleyville, which is the home to the famous Chicago Cubs. Now, the sports scene in Chicago overall is huge. You can either come down here to watch a baseball Cubs game or a White Sox game. There's also the Chicago Bears who play football in downtown. It's just a great city with a lot of sports culture in general. And one of the perks of going to Northwestern is that you get a lot of discounts, student recommended discounts for a lot of these sporting games and attractions. But one particular Northwestern tradition that I like shouting out and like highlighting is NU Day at Wrigley, where for one day, for one particular match, usually at the end of spring quarter, Northwestern actually rents out a good portion of the seats within Wrigley Field, and it actually sends a group of Northwestern students, about 5,000 undergraduates, to go down and watch a Cubs game for a really, really cheap price. It's a great way for you to get down here into the city, watch a Cubs game with your friends, and just have a great time watching sports in Chicago. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me on our lovely tour of the beautiful city of Chicago. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel linked right over here. Check out our other videos down below and follow us on social media. And remember, go Cats!